Let's get everything set up here, and we'll wait to see if anybody can come in. For those of you who saw the last video and the alarm went off, which knocked out my sound, and then I had to go back to a new live stream, I have taken the advice of a viewer, and I have not only turned off all my alarms that need to be turned off, I have set the do not disturb. Now, if you're watching this on the playback, you may want to wait a few minutes. Oh, I forgot to add the thumbnail, but that's okay. I'll add it later. I have the thumbnail, but obviously I knew I'd forget something. Well, we'll just go live and we'll talk about this. I've got some updates for today on the Nancy Guthrie case. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. Yeah, I just saw my thumbnail on the iPad and it's not there yet. Hey, Hearts of Gold. How you doing? Are you still digging out from the snow? It's like really hot here. It's supposed to be like 90s by Friday. Like, oh my God. Hey, Kellyanne, welcome in. Yeah, I don't know if you guys were here Sunday when at the end of the live, the iPhone alarm went off and it cut out my audio, and I had to go to a new live stream, and I lost most of my viewers. And what was that? Sunday or Monday? I think that was, yeah, that was Monday. Oh well, stuff happens. I have quite a few updates on the Nancy Guthrie case, but I'm just gonna give it a few minutes and see if we can get anybody in here. I hope people aren't, like losing interest in this case. That would be so sad, since this poor woman has not yet been found. I don't want, the media or the YouTubers or the mainstream media, I don't want anybody to like lose interest in this, because it's not looking good. Hey, 14 people. Yay. Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm April Davis, PI, and it is February 25th, 2026. I'm here in Los Angeles, California. I am a licensed private investigator in the state of California. I want to report the latest on the Nancy Guthrie case, and let me just state I'm not working this case in any capacity, not officially or unofficially. I'm just reporting it on my YouTube channel. Couple things. We talked about how someone has recently stated over the last couple days, it could have been yesterday because I was off yesterday for my PI anniversary, but there was a second photo of the suspect. Hey, Caitlin. There was a second photo where the guy doesn't have the backpack and he doesn't have the gun in the holster. And they said that was, it could be the same guy, but it was taken on a different day. Well, then right after that news came out, and we announced it here, and many other mainstream media people announced it. I'm not mainstream, but the mainstream media announced it, and then a lot of YouTubers announced it, that, hey, those are two separate photos, two separate days. The sheriff said, well, that's only speculative. Like, what? If you look at those photos, the video or the stills, you can see that the moonlight is totally different than the night of February 1st, where the moon was 99% full. So there's a lot of lighting in the background the night that at least the abductor or one of the abductors showed up at the door and was, getting all funky with the Nest doorbell. That I think it's the same guy, but maybe wearing different shoes. He did come on a date before that day. Now, that could have been January 31st, but I doubt it, because then the moon would have been 100% full. Like, I'm just telling you that I think it's the same guy. It's definitely different days, and there's no way to lift dates, but for some reason, the FBI is interested in the day February the 11th. I'm not sure why or January the 11th, excuse me. They're asking all the neighbors to go back to video from January 1st through February 1st. but for some reason, they are focused on January the 11th. Like maybe that's when the intruder came and did, just a practice trial run, so to speak, without the backpack, without the equipment, without his gun. It's this whole thing is odd. But to have made that announcement and then a day later, the sheriff, he then makes another press conference and says, "Oh, I never said that, and it's speculative." Like, what the hey, man? What are you doing? This is the same guy that, secured the crime scene, unsecured the crime scene, secured it, unsecured it. It's just, hi, boo boo, welcome in. None of this makes any sense. And then apparently within the first 24 to 48 hours, he called off all the search efforts for her. Why? When they didn't even know what they were dealing with yet. He immediately called in the homicide team because there was blood in the house, but supposedly it's only droplets like there was at the front door, and they're not saying what part of the house, but it was droplets that appeared to go straight down. And I've always thought that maybe somebody injured her or restrained her or even killed her, and then somebody, even though it's 150 pounds, like of dead weight, they maybe threw the body over the shoulder, because when they left the house, wherever that second trail of blood was, besides the front door, nobody had stepped in it. So I think if it was two guys carrying her, somebody would have walked into the blood droplets. So I think I could, oh, hi, OC Amelia. I could figure this out better if I knew where in the house that there was more blood droplets that were exactly the same pattern as the blood droplets that were at the front door and a few feet away from the front porch. But then those blood droplets stopped, which makes no sense to me. Like, how did you only get a few feet and then there's no more droplets? And she was an older lady, she was on a blood thinner. They may have had a scuffle inside the house. But there's no indication from anybody that there was a bloodbath, like she was murdered inside the house. Like, because someone had sent me a note, a comment on one of my videos saying, well, I think she was shot and killed inside the house. And I beg to differ, because if she was shot and killed inside the house, there would be blood everywhere, and there would be blood splatters on the walls and the ceiling. And, it's a very messy situation if somebody gets murdered inside their home. So the fact that there was just the droplets in a very specific straight down pattern tells me that she was carried. But why did the sheriff unsecure that scene so quickly after they were made aware that she was missing? And why did he, within the first 24 to 48 hours, whatever it was, say, you know what, we're not going to put out the search and rescue people? Like, this case had just started. I don't know. Bananas. People are calling him bananas now. I don't know why he's acting in a manner that he's acting in. And I know that he doesn't get along with the FBI. So I think, the sheriff, they're going one way with this and the FBI is going another. I don't think they're working as a team. So now the feds are saying, something might have happened on the 11th. Where they get this from, I don't know. Hey, 22 people watching, 8 thumbs up. Let's do it. Thumbs up, thumbs up. I need those watch hours. And let me just stop for a moment. I don't think she's in here yet, but there's a young lady, Leanne Barris, and she's just watching my videos, binge watching one after the other, because I've been seeing her comments. So if you're watching this, Leanne, on the playback, thank you very much for your support. If there were more people like you, I could get my 4,000 hours and we could get this channel going again. Okay. The main story of this is yesterday. Was it yesterday? The day before? I'm a day behind now because I didn't do a video yesterday. But Savannah Guthrie's family, or Nancy Guthrie's family, and I'm sure this is probably coming from mostly Savannah, they've thrown an extra up to $1 million in the reward pot. And people are like, well, hey, why didn't she do that from the beginning? And apparently she wanted to, but I think she was persuaded by the police or the FBI not to put that much money in the pot, because it would just cause the phone lines and the tip lines to be more overloaded than they already are. People, giving false leads, people after that money. But, you know, I think you have to have something very specific that would lead to her recovery in order to get that money. So I don't necessarily agree that holding that $1 million until, the start of the fourth week was the right thing to do. I just think that, the more money that's out there on the table, the more chance of somebody coming forward. And time is of the essence, whether it's a homicide, an abduction, a kidnapping, time is of the essence. And you get that reward money out immediately. You don't wait, until the fourth week and go, well, maybe 100,000, maybe 50,000 isn't enough, 100,000 isn't enough. Now someone, an anonymous donor, has put in another 100,000. Now it's up to 200,000. And then finally, all these weeks later, Savannah Guthrie's family says, okay, uh, we're gonna throw another million into the pot for our missing mother, Nancy. Um, I don't agree with delaying it. I think yes, it would have caused more tips, and you just you got to bring in the boots on the ground. You got to keep searching. You got to have the helicopters, the drones, the search dogs, the cadaver dogs. It has to be very, very intense from the beginning. You don't unsecure a crime scene and let, everybody from the U.S. Postal Service to Amazon to pizza companies to the landscapers to the pool man to the news media, the mainstream media, and the live streamers that are out there, on YouTube. I mean, so many people walked right up to the front door and were taking pictures. That's how it all got online because, you know, the property was unsecured very quickly. It was almost like they already knew she was gone. But even so, you don't have anybody arrested yet. Why are you letting people traipse all over the property like that? Remember, the FBI did come back and they were doing work in the garage and they re-secured it and then unsecured it but that was completely separate from when the sheriff's department had the house secure. Nico, is it? Well, or EK Nico? Thanks for coming. I'll just call you EK. Like Eric Caros, EK. Welcome in. I hope you're subscribed, EK. Everybody hit that thumbs up, hit those red hearts. Just tap your screen, I think, and the red hearts will come up. I don't know. How do you guys feel about this? Do you think that they should have just put the $1 million on the table right away? She's an 84-year-old woman, and the chances of her being alive right now without her medication are slim to none. Why do you wait now? To put up the $1 million. I just think that was. Everybody's got an opinion, but I think it was bad advice to tell the family, like, let's hold off on the big bucks. I mean, it started out as $2,500. She's the mother of Savannah Guthrie. She makes $8 million a year. That doesn't include her husband's salary. That doesn't include the brother-in-law's salary, the brother's salary, and and it's $2,500. I don't even recall who put up that initial reward. Does anybody here know who put up the original $2,500? I know the FBI threw in the 50, and then they threw in another 50K, which doubled it to 100. But they never mentioned what happened to the 2,500. Was that still on or off the table? Was that still on the table once the FBI threw their money in? Then last week, the anonymous donor came in and gave $100,000, and I have no idea who that is because it's an anonymous donor. And then this week, Savannah Guthrie, who apparently wanted to donate that money all along to the reward fund for the return of their mother. And she didn't say just $1 million. She said up to 1 million. And I caught that language very quickly. Up to 1 million. I would have offered that from the very beginning. I mean, I did get my after surgery present, the Boylan Diet Root Beer. These actually came all the way from New York. And I only have 3 left. I used my Amazon credit, so it only cost me a couple of dollars, but oh boy. What is one to do? Wow, there's only 15 people and there's 12 thumbs up. That's actually pretty good, but if you're new and you're just coming in here, please give me a subscribe. hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, then you'll be notified anytime I go live or post a video. And I do post quite a bit of long form content videos. I just haven't done that lately. I do post a few shorts, but every time I do so, I tell myself, you're wasting your time. There's no money in that. Well, there's no money in this channel, period, because I'm not monetized right now. So if anybody wants to buy something or donate something, you can always go to the links on the main channel page. But wow, 22 people. Where are you guys coming in from today? Please put it in the chat, and let's talk about this. And oh, by the way, there is police activity in the backyard of Nancy Guthrie's house again today. Yet another reason to have kept the crime scene secured. And I noticed that they walked by the pool. Well, the pool man's already been there since this has happened. The landscapers have already been there since this happened. And after all these people have traipsed over the property for the last, 3+ weeks, the detectives are back. Wow, 43 people. Where are you guys coming in from? Please blow up the chat. Let me know. Let me turn over the chat to you guys. 14 thumbs up. 43 people watching on a Wednesday afternoon. Wow. Hit those thumbs up. Hit those red hearts. Please type into the chat where you're coming in from. I hope I'm getting some international viewers as well. Is anybody here international? I know we have quite a few Canadians that come into the chat. Thank you for the red hearts, whoever just did that. Wow. It just jumped up really quick for a moment. Keep hitting the thumbs up. Hit those red hearts. Please type into the chat where you're coming in from. I'm in Los Angeles, California. I've had people come in from the UK, from Ireland. I had somebody come in the other night from India. I don't think I ever had India before. Although I do know quite a few people from India watch some of my videos. I can see that on the back door page, on the YouTube studio page where some of the viewers come in from. You're coming in from the USA, boo-boo. Well, we got people coming in, but the comments are pretty slow tonight. I wanted to go over one other thing here, besides the reward, the dates regarding the second guy, or the second pictures of the original guy, whether it's two guys, one guy. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about why the $1 million wasn't put up right away. Why Sheriff Bananos is now coming in saying that all this stuff about the dates being different is speculative right after all that's been released. But I wanted to bring something up that I was kind of hesitant to talk about on here, and that is when this first happened, people thought that maybe this woman was a target because of who her daughter is, Savannah Guthrie. She's the co-host of the Today Show. She has a lot of money. I guess it's very well known in Tucson that this woman that lives there locally, that she is Savannah Guthrie's mom. She's been on the Today Show quite a bit. But people also apparently have mentioned a lot about Savannah Guthrie's interest in the Epstein files and her, interviewing victims over the years. But I looked that up, and that started back in 2019. We're in 2026. But the government of the United States did say that those files were going to be released recently, but we haven't had a full release. Everything's being redacted. It seems like there's all these distractions that are happening, and all this isn't coming out as promised. I think it will eventually, especially if we get Trump out of office. I think it will start to come out. But he was very quick to stand up and, offer assistance. And that's something that a person with compassion and decorum would do, like an Obama or a Clinton or even a George W. Bush. His daughter is on the Today Show with Savannah Guthrie. Why is someone who is so hated by Savannah, and the hate is mutual, why was he so quick to be like, I'm here to help? There's a rumor that he called her, offered any federal assistance that she might need. And I know that typically happens with famous people. There's people every day that get kidnapped that or get abducted or murdered, and it's not like big news. Hi, Karen, welcome in. But why now is he all of a sudden trying to be a stand-up guy? That just made me suspicious. And I went down the Epstein file rabbit hole in my mind yesterday. I took a day off from going live, and I started to think like, God, I wonder if this is really bigger than we think, and this is connected to all of that. And this was, sent as a message, like, don't mess with me, stop investigating this, because look, we have the upper hand. I hope that it's nothing like that. Oh, wow, 30 people? Wow, thank you. Please, all 30 of you, if you haven't already given me the thumbs up, please do. It'll help show engagement, and it'll help YouTube algorithm, as messed up as it is, to put it out there so more people can come in and see. And now if you're just coming in now, you can always watch this in the playback from the beginning and go over, listen to what we talked about the second photo. Was it the same guy, a different guy? Was it the same day, a different day? The feds now have some information about January the 11th. We don't know where they're getting that from. I talked about Savannah upping the reward to up to $1 million. She didn't say $1 million. She said up to $1 million for the return of her mother, and why that wasn't done right away. And I kind of think it should have been. The blood droplet pattern, but this is only coming from inside sources. Nothing about the condition of the inside of the house has been officially released. There's more police activity today in the backyard. Another reason to have kept the crime scene secure. And how many here think that this could be? I mean, I know this is a stretch, but how many here? And I don't want to get political, but how many here think that this could be connected to Savannah Guthrie and the interviews? Oh, I just heard my YouTube ticker go up. Thank you, whoever just subbed. Could this be connected to the Epstein files and her interviews of the victims and the fact that a lot of the names are getting ready to come out? On the other hand, though, her husband, Michael Feldman, he's a consultant, and he worked for this, highfalutin firm in Washington, D.C., and he was supposedly, not only was he, like, working closely with Al Gore, but he supposedly was this cleanup person for the Clintons. And, the Clintons are getting ready to testify about the Epstein files, but yet, Bill Clinton is on the top of the list, and Savannah Guthrie's current husband is the cleanup guy for Bill Clinton, but yet she is one of these reporters, investigative journalists, who's really pushed to let the victims' voices be heard. And, how many have gone down the Epstein file rabbit hole here? I still don't think this was a typical kidnapping. And no matter what I think, because, I'm not involved in this investigation, the sheriff's department in Pima County, Arizona is saying that every member of the family has been, officially cleared. I have a hard time believing that anybody's cleared when they don't even know who did this and why. But remember, the sheriff did call in the homicide unit right away, and they don't normally do that on a missing persons case. That there was something there that they were like, and I'm sure maybe the blood had a lot to do with that. But it seems like whoever came there, whether it was one person or several people, like, they had a backpack full of gear to remove her. Whether living or dead, I don't know. But how many people think that maybe all these ransom notes, they're just red herrings, or they're written by completely separate people that had nothing to do with this crime whatsoever. And they were just, it was like a money grab from people unrelated, like the guy in, Hawthorne or Torrance here in LA County that was sending texts to the family. Well, how did he get the family's phone number? How did he get Annie and Tommaso's phone number and sent those copycat ransom demand texts where he said something like, well, how about that Bitcoin? And they got that guy right away because that guy was an idiot and he's going to spend a lot of time in federal prison. But they still don't know who wrote these ransom letters that were sent to the local TV stations and TMZ. Like, is that just people that are completely unrelated? And they're like, hey, this is a big case and, I'm going to put my 2 cents in. Because, typically ransom letters come right away. And if it's a murder, usually a body is left in a house. Like if they went there to kill her, why would they take a 150-pound body with them? Unless there was evidence on that body, DNA, like maybe she struggled and she, all these things are going through my mind. I've even gone down the psychic rabbit hole and the spirit box rabbit hole, and I got to stop listening to things like that. I got to just stick with the facts. And I know that the police and the FBI, well, the FBI, they're not saying hardly anything, but, I don't have a whole lot of faith in them either at this point. In my detective career, I've worked on many things that the FBI already had, and, they couldn't handle it. And I'm not saying they're a bad law enforcement agency because they're not. But do they have anything? Why were all these other people of interest pulled over and houses raided? How did they get Carlos Palazuelos involved? And what's the truth on the car, that Land Rover Range Rover? Like, what's the deal? And what about the guy from Jordan and his connection to the dailies and this gal Kayla that they picked up on unrelated warrants, and then all of a sudden all these other warrants came down, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be suing when if this all comes out and none of these people were involved, and they'll sue. I mean, Carlos, little DoorDash guy, he's already got an attorney. He's already represented. And I think it's just a matter of time. If they haven't lawyered up already, the dailies will be lawyering up, especially the mom and the other son, they had to step out so their house could be raided. Like, but nobody's been arrested. At least not for this. Like, what's really going on here? And I'm sorry I went down the Epstein file rabbit hole, but I've had to think of everything. Could this just be some random stalker that was after Savannah? And that was the only way they could get to her, was to get to the mom. Like, I don't think it's a burglary ring. I don't think it's a robbery ring, like a burglary or a robbery gone wrong. I just don't believe that the Mexican drug cartel would come over the border and take an 84-year-old woman. I mean, why? What would the motive be? And then have to take the body, back into Mexico. And I mean, none of that makes sense. That's ridiculous. And people were saying that from the very beginning. Well, it's so close south of the border. Somebody could have taken her over the border. Well, they could have. But for what purpose? And if she is deceased, how come the body hasn't been found? Everybody's looking, Now they even have volunteers out there going through, and today they're, besides searching the backyard of the Nancy Guthrie estate again, yes, again, there's been detectives seen on the side of roads that are in the Catalina foothills on other streets. I saw like traffic going by, and they're like in the desert scrub, like searching for something. Like, ever since this reward was up, there's a lot more boots on the ground with the detectives or the FBI agents that are out there in their suits, and they're on the side of the road, and they're in the backyard looking. What are they looking for? Like, somebody help me here. Somebody type something into the chat, because everybody, you guys are. I'm happy you're here, but not many people are chatting with me today. I'd love to hear your opinions. We got 24 people watching right now, and we've got only 16 thumbs up. I'll have to ask you one more time. Can you give me a thumbs up on this? Can you double tap the screen and give me the red hearts? What do you guys think? Do you think kidnapping, murder? Is there a stalker involved? Is this Epstein file related? Is it still the friends and the family, the people close to her, associates, family members, friends, church members, people who worked in the home or at the home? What do you think? Like, where do we go with this? The media, they can't be camped out on her street forever. Other news stories are happening in the world, and some of these YouTubers, they're very far away from home that have come out, and they've just sat there day after day after day from sun up till sunset, And pretty soon, because where this city is located out west in the desert, the weather's going to change. I mean, we're going to have 90 some degrees here in LA of all places on a Friday in February. Geez, usually in April when it's my birthday, it's still pretty chilly here. When back on my surveillance days out in June, we'd get the May gray and the June gloom, and I was out in layers, and I'd have to take the layers off during the day, as the temperatures went up. And it's only February, and we're going to have 90s. If we're going to have 90s here, I can't even imagine how that weather is going to start to turn, because I know, I had family in Vegas, and, usually by about March or April, there's no looking back. And today is February 25th. So we're getting to that sus time, that time of the year. I mean, I think on Sunday, March 8th, the clocks even go ahead an hour. And it's only going to be a matter of time where those desert climates here in the Southwest, they're going to start to roast. I mean, it's not going to be as bad as it would be in the summer, but it's going to get hot in Tucson pretty darn soon. The weather's going to completely change. And, those people can't just stay out there forever waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And, I don't even know if they still have the 400 agents from the FBI out there. The other day, Bananos, I'll call him what everybody else is calling him, Sheriff Bananos. He's saying there's only a couple hundred people. Well, did half of the FBI go home? How many forces does the sheriff's department have? He threatened people who wanted to do a volunteer search, saying that they needed a permit and they couldn't go on private property. And everybody was just like, well, screw you. We're all going out Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. And they did. And hundreds of people showed up. And that's how they found a backpack in a tunnel. Hey, Fairy Mary. I haven't seen you before. I hope you're subscribed, Mary. Where are you coming in from? Where does this go from here is what I'm saying. I can talk to you guys till I'm blue in the face every day, and I can update you whenever there's an update. We do have some police activity today, and then the reward got upped due to the Guthrie family putting in up to $1 million for the return of their mother. But, Savannah, she can't even go back to her job on the Today Show. And I don't think her husband, he's not working right now either. And he flew the kids out of Arizona. Maybe they were dropped off with family. I don't even know if her kids are still there. And they're little, they're like school-aged children. She has a son and a daughter. And I'm sure their security is very, very high right now, wherever they're at. Even the Today Show, they're having to hire extra security for all of their broadcasters, because nobody knows, is this connected to the Today Show? Is this connected directly to Savannah? Does this have nothing to do with Savannah? Who would go after an 84-year-old woman who has mobility issues? She's got heart issues. She's got a pacemaker. She's not going to last very long away from her environment, from her home and her friends. Can you imagine if she's being held somewhere and she is still alive? I doubt it, unless they went out and got meds for her. if she's gone, may she rest in peace. But geez, I hope they find the remains if that's the case. Like, everybody is so vested in this. I don't even know the Guthries. I've never even met Savannah. Like, I feel like I'm so vested in this. I lay awake in bed at night thinking about this. Like, you know, I've gone down the psychic rabbit hole, going through the videos at night on YouTube. I've listened to some of the spirit box readers, and I think that's all BS, for the most part. Like, you can order one of those boxes on Amazon and then start a YouTube channel and, claim to be a paranormal investigator and a psychic or a medium and get, 500,000 people following you. And, if you're good at it, it's a living, but it doesn't mean it's legit. I'm a detective. I'm a real life detective, and I believe in just the facts. And I know that anything is possible, but, how about all you guys that have been watching this, YouTube or armchair detectives? What do you think? Do you think she's going to be found? Do you think she's alive? Are you guys even hearing me right now? I mean, maybe somebody, Karen, if you're still here in the chat, one of my mods, can you type in the chat if you can hear me? I see that my microphone is on and the receiver is plugged in. Are you guys just listening in the background while you're doing other things? I mean, the chat is very, very slow today, but I'm not getting any messages about not being able to hear me. I did turn off notifications ahead of this video so that, we don't get accidentally, audio gets kicked off the air because of an alarm going off on the phone. There's 26 people right now, and I got 22 thumbs up. For any of you 26 that are here, can you type in the chat that you can? In fact, I'll listen on my iPad. Let me do that. Yeah, I can hear me. April, I can hear you.
I can hear me.
See? The iPad's always a few seconds behind the actual live here. So yeah, my iPad can hear me. Wow. I got 24 thumbs up. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. What's happened to the chat? I've never seen this before. I got plenty of people coming in for a Wednesday afternoon. That's fantastic. But are you guys driving or you're working in the background? You just have this playing in the background while you're at work? Or are you guys on the East Coast and maybe you're cooking dinner? Or hell, maybe you're in another country and it's already tomorrow. I don't know. Why is the chat so quiet today? I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Just let me know what your thoughts are on this. And try to keep it limited to, questions obviously about the Nancy Guthrie case. Are you guys listening to Ashley Banfield or Megan Kelly or Nancy Grace? Are you watching some of the YouTubers that are out there that are set up, across the street from the house? Yeah, nobody's talking to me in this chat. It says I got 29 people. Should I just, take a break? Take a soda break? Yeah, this was my after surgery treat. I finally ordered it and it came in early from New York. It's funny because they used OnTrack to send this from New York to LA. And the return address was actually like some warehouse in New Jersey. But other than saying that it was sent, it never tracked. Unlike UPS or USPS or FedEx, I could never see like where it was. And I was starting to get like worried, like, well, this is never going to show up because it shows that they printed the label and it shows that it left a facility, but it never tracked. And one day I walked outside and I almost tripped over it at my door. It was sitting at my door and I'm like, what's this? What is this? And it was packed very well. Whoever sent it, they packed it. They had all these individual bubble wraps around each bottle. And because I've received stuff like this before that was broken, or some of it was broken, or it got halfway across the country and they're like, I'm sorry, we can't ship it all the way because it's been damaged en route. But the company that packed this, if you have to buy this, you buy it off of Amazon, and it comes from a third party. They don't have it in the Amazon warehouse, so the third party ships it. And I have to tell you that this is really, really good. This is a top of the line product, and it doesn't have the same awful chemicals in it that the A&W has that kind of was making me sick. So thank you to the company that sent this boiling diet root beer. Oh, I'm getting addicted to this, and I got to be drinking water. I got my water right here in my Arrowhead. I whipped down a lot of these. I even made my own, homemade fruit smoothie today, so I've been drinking that too. You should see my place. I have to go around every day and clean up all the half-drink bottles of juice and water. uh, my God, it's been like, what, 5-10 minutes? My God. You know what? I'm going to type something on the iPad and see if it comes up. Because I'm not seeing anything. Well, I typed in a test. I think YouTube is having some issues right now because I just typed in test and I can see it on my iPad. But I can't see it in the chat on my phone. That is very strange. We're 42 minutes into this. I've got 30 people watching. Obviously, you're hearing me, because if you weren't, you would be telling me that you're not hearing me. And I can hear me on the iPad. See? But I'm wondering if YouTube is having some type of a glitch right now. You know what? I have an idea. If anybody can hear this, send me, even if it just says test, send me a message to my email. Oh, you can hear me, Ragtop Man. I'm starting to get suspicious that either the audio went down, but it's not. I'm watching myself back on the iPad. In fact, let me turn that back down because I don't want the reverb. It'll drive you guys crazy. You'll be hearing me talk twice. It'll sound like an echo. I even typed in test to myself on the iPad, and it didn't show up in the chat on the device that I'm recording this on. How could there be 37 people here? Now 32, and I'm not seeing anything. I've done like how many videos on this? Once or twice a day since the 2nd. Minus the 6th, I had surgery that day, and I took my first break yesterday. It was my 42nd anniversary of when I started my PI career. And I had to go get the business mail yesterday, and I just was going through lots of bank statements and things like that. So yesterday I was just like, I just have to handle things, get caught up paperwork-wise. But usually there's, all these people are coming in and out of the chat, and people are saying hi. And other than Ragtop Man, I haven't seen anything in like 10 or 15 minutes. Kellyanne, okay. Where is everybody, Kellyanne? I'm like, did YouTube go down, or were you not able to see or hear me? Because I've been asking you guys, like, well, what do you think? Where does this case go from here? Oh, hi, Hearts of Gold. like, where is everybody? I see 32 people in, and I see 28 thumbs up, but everybody just seemed to disappear from the chat, and I've never had that happen before with this many people in. So then I typed a test chat on the iPad, but it only showed up on the iPad version. It didn't show up on this version on the cell phone. So I was like, are you guys hearing me? But you can't type, or is everybody like driving or cooking or working, or somebody say something. Thank you, Ragtop Man, because I was just getting ready to maybe just pull the plug thinking there's some sort of technical issue going on. And, I made darn sure, thanks, Hearts. I made darn sure before I started this that I turned off my pillow alarm for 7, but, I won't be on the air still at 7. And I also took somebody's advice. I went into my settings and I put on Do Not Disturb. Now, I wonder, now that I've turned on Do Not Disturb, if when I turn it back on when this is done, will I get any back notifications, or do I just miss all those notifications that would have come during the time that I'm on the air? Game over. Exactly, Hearts. Oh my gosh. So you guys hearing anything else today that I haven't already spoken about, or do you have any thoughts? Like, will Nancy be found? Yes or no? Let's see it in the chat, everybody. Will Nancy Guthrie be found? The Ragtop Man is like, is that I don't know? Will Nancy Guthrie be found? Yes or no? What is everybody doing today? Are you guys just, if you're listening to me in the background, that's great. And I said it earlier, there's a Leanne Navarez. I would just like to thank her. She's been binge watching my videos the last few days. And how I know that is because she's placing comments in not just the lives, but she's watched everything from the shorts to the long form content videos, telling me how much she enjoys these kinds of videos. Hi, June. Yeah, I was getting ready to pull the plug because I had tons of people in here. Nobody was sending anything in the chat. Oh, did you send an email, Hearts? Is my email even set up on my new iPad? Wouldn't it be funny if that wasn't set up? Oh, let's see. Is there a mail? Oh. Okay, I'm getting a message from Karen. And she said at 3:41, "Hey, April, I think there's something wrong with YouTube. I keep chatting, but apparently you do not see my chat or anyone else's for that matter. I thought you should know." Thank you, Karen. Yeah, I think there is a YouTube issue right now. There's another email from Karen at 3:46. YouTube chats are down for some reason. It keeps erasing all my posts and probably others too. It's happening on several live streams. We can hear you just fine. Much love, Karen. Thank you, Karen. Hugs. Oh my God, I wish you were. Thank you. I'm like, what is going on? I'm talking to the air and there's all these people. Like sometimes there's 30 some people and like nobody's doing anything. And I'm asking questions and like, can you guys type this in the chat? And there was nothing. I thought it was like a Whatnot deal where, they have technical issues sometimes. I've never seen that before on YouTube. Thank you, Karen. You can chat now. Okay, let's back up, everybody. I'm gonna. Hi, Edwin. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I think there was a YouTube issue. So I'm like, now that I turned off all the notifications, how come I'm not getting the chat? Like, it shouldn't have affected the chat. Like, what's going on? And nobody was typing in the chat, we can't hear you. And then I thought, well, maybe for some reason the messages can't come through. And then I typed myself a message in my iPad, but it didn't show up on my phone. Like, well, that's weird. Okay, I'm going to ask it again. Let's keep it simple. Yes or no? Do we think Nancy Guthrie is still alive? Is she alive? Yes or no? I think my last question was, would she be found? And I wasn't getting any responses. But is Nancy Guthrie still alive? Oh, thank you for the hearts and the smiley faces. I appreciate that. Heart says no. You know, I don't think she's alive either. And I think she was either deceased before she left her home, or she was deceased very soon after, like within 24 hours. And I don't want to be right. But they didn't bother to take her medication. And see, if it was a kidnapping and they really wanted money, they would have taken that medication. Or they would have gone out and got some, because they would need to show proof of life. And they didn't take anything. Supposedly nothing from the house is missing. But you know who would know the best if anything was missing? Would be Nancy. Hearts of Gold says no, and then she says yes. Okay, let's rephrase this. Because most of us, we don't believe she's alive. Will Nancy Guthrie be found? Whether dead or alive, will she be found? Hey, James. Will Nancy Guthrie be found? Even if it's just remains, will she be found? Heart says yes. James says too. I don't know what that means. James, I hope you are subscribed. Everybody, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Hit those red hearts. Yes, Karen thinks she will be found. I hope so, because that's what I'm getting worried about. I think she's gone, and I think her family realizes that she's gone. But they have to have some sort of closure. Even if she's deceased, they have to know where she's at and what they got to find a body. And I wonder if it's one of these things where it goes on for years, you know? Yeah, fingers crossed, says Kellyanne. Wonder if this goes on for years. Hi, Jamie James. And we never know. Like, how will the Guthrie family get back to their lives? You know, Tommaso, he's a 6th grade school teacher. Savannah, she's a television co-host. She can't just go back on the air and be all happy and smiley and just like life that moves. I mean, you've got to have closure, even if the worst has happened. I mean, even if they never know who did it, which would be horrible, because I think justice needs to be served here. Where is she? You know, there's so many people looking for her. This is such a big story. It would be harder to hide somebody like that because everybody is looking. When I went to the new Gelson's in the area, I saw a guy at the salad bar who looked identical to Tommaso Cioni. And I was like, oh my God, that guy looks like Tommaso Cioni. And he was with an older woman who was like in her 80s, but it was totally not Nancy Guthrie. But I was like, oh my God, like, that's so amazing that I see someone that looks just like him. He had the same beard and the same eye. I was like, oh my God, that guy looks like Tommaso Cioni. And he's in here with someone who's probably his mother. I mean, and I doubt she's in California, but it made me look. Hi, Shelley Harper. Are you new here, Shelley? If so, where are you coming in from? And I hope you are subscribed to April Davis PI. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, then you'll be notified anytime I come on with a video. And I do apologize that I haven't made any long form content recently. I have limited mobility, not as limited as Nancy Guthrie, but very limited mobility. So I just can't get out like I used to. So I've been, just working on the shorts and working on the lives. But I will continue to film the long form content because that's what I really enjoy the most. And I have gotten a lot better at the editing. I mean, I'm not a professional, but when I look at my earlier videos, I'm like, oh my God, I really sucked. So sometimes I had like a good story to tell, but I just didn't have the right editing capabilities. So I have gotten better at that. But I can't afford I had a paid subscription for a while that was like $55 a month, and I just couldn't do that anymore. And I'm still paying for the epidemic sound, but I haven't used that lately because I've been doing the lives. Hi, Scott Bellagio. Where are you coming in from tonight? Or if you're in California here like me, it's still daytime. Yeah, there was a YouTube glitch. If you guys weren't here earlier, like I was talking to the sky, like talking to the air, and nobody was chatting anymore. And I'm like, can you hear me? Can you see me? San Diego. Oh, that's nice. You're not too far. What do you think about this, Scott? About Nancy Guthrie? Do you think she's going to be found? Do you think she's still alive? Who's got her and why? Feel free. Apparently the chat, like YouTube, went down and people were checking other channels, and everybody's, it wasn't just on my end. It was a YouTube glitch where all the chats went down because I couldn't figure out. Like, I can hear myself on the iPad, and then I was like, hey, if you can't see or hear me, like, somebody send me some messages on my Gmail, and somebody did. Thank you to my mod Karen. And she let me know that there wasn't an issue with YouTube and that it was happening on several live streams, but that they could hear me. So hopefully you guys are not having troubles now. I wonder if it was like the whole country or just certain parts of the country. We're sunny and warm out here and no bad weather, but I know a lot of you on the East Coast are still digging your way out. Hopefully you guys all have power and you all have heat. And you guys can get to the store and get some food soon. That's what happens here, like if it just rains, like the streets are empty. It's like the world is ending here if it rains bad. But boy, it'd be a great day to be a delivery driver. Just come to California when it rains and sign up for like Uber Eats or DoorDash or something. Probably make a killing. But it looks like our rain is pretty much done for the year. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. Make sure I get a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. I've already gone almost an hour. If you guys didn't see the beginning of this video, you can go back to the beginning when I'm done with this and, watch it from the start. It'll take a day or two for the chat to re-upload. It takes a while because YouTube has to process the chat. Hi, CB. Thanks for coming. But if anybody's got anything to say, if you've got the ability to type in the chat again after that glitch, shoot me a message here, or if you want to shoot me a message privately, aprildavispi@gmail.com. Thank you again to my mod Karen for letting me know that there was a YouTube issue. It wasn't me. I'm so paranoid after what happened 2 nights ago, and that the iPhone alarm went off, and whenever that happens, it kicks off my audio, and I had to end the chat and go back and start over, and just a crap show. I was so mad. I'm still mad about that. But you know what? You have to get back up on that horse again and keep going. But I'm still, every day I'm still saying a prayer for Nancy Guthrie for her safe return. I have a feeling it's way too late. I think she's been gone from the beginning, and I don't mean gone like not in her house. I mean like gone like deceased. I don't think this was a routine kidnapping. Somebody targeted her. Somebody took her with the intent never to return her. Um, who's sending a message? Apparently, nothing was taken. They didn't even take her purse, her wallet, her money. I don't know what type of valuables she had in the house, but they claim that nothing's missing. I think if something was missing, that would have leaked out by now. That yeah, it was a robbery or it was a burglary, but it just doesn't appear to be. And typical kidnappers, they don't stay in a house for over 40 minutes. Like, what were they doing in there? Um, I just don't know. Um, I mean, are the clues right in front of us and nobody's just seeing them? Or is this a much bigger situation than any of us could have ever imagined? Hello, Midnight Sun. Hi, LC. Yeah, I'm praying for her too, Ragtop Man. I'm praying for the family. I mean, you know, they've all the siblings, they have kids, I think. I'm not sure about Andy Tomaso. I thought they had a daughter, but I haven't really said much about that. I know Savannah's got a couple kids, and her brother Cameron has two little girls, and they've all got their lives and their jobs, and you know, the brother and her live on the East Coast, and the only one that was local was Annie and Tommaso, and um, you know, it's just like all the news media and all these extra FBI agents that are away from home that are out, on this. Like at some point, this is it's starting to slow down. Now I think now that Katie, or I keep calling her Katie, like Katie Couric, but no, Savannah. I don't know why I've got that stuck in my mind the last couple of days. Now that Savannah has said that she would give up to, or her family, the Guthrie family will give up to $1 million reward, I think for the next few days, there'll be a lot more tips that'll come in the tip line. And by the way, if anybody watching has any information that's, legit, call 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-CALL-FBI. But don't call law enforcement or a tip line or 911 if you don't have something legit to report. Don't waste their time. Uh, yeah, the chat broke. Oh, Bo Jack says, you think she's alive? Well, that's a positive thought, Bo. I don't think that she is, and I want to be wrong. I've never wanted to be so wrong in all my life. But if she is alive, I don't want her to be suffering. They didn't take her meds. She's not going to live very long without those meds. I mean, I can attest to that because I'm on a lot of blood pressure and heart medication, and with all the hospitalizations and surgeries, and before procedures, you have to go off certain drugs, and just within 12 hours, the body's like stressing so bad that you can't even like stand up. Like if she needs all those drugs and she's got a pacemaker, and she's not going to last very long without her medication. So let's just pray for the best. Let's pray that she's found, even if the worst has happened. I want this to be resolved, and I want whoever did this, whether it's an individual or a group, I want everybody to be held accountable. I want everybody to get a trial, and you know, whoever did this, they need to be put in prison for the rest of their life. Um, yeah, we need closure. And it's just, we're in the fourth week now. We're in the 25th day. Do you realize that? We're in the 25th day. You know, by next Sunday, we'll be going into this coming Sunday, we'll be going into the 5th week. It's just, it's bad. It's just, I don't know the Guthries, but my heart, and I'm sure yours too, are with them. I just would, I don't want to be in their shoes. Uh, you know, I do have experience with this to a point because of my detective career, but I also, my family has experience with this because decades before I was born, this happened to a family member of my own family. That was back in the 40s, so it was long before I was here, but the repercussions of that last a lifetime. Um, it's not something that you just get over from and resume life. It affects somebody um, forever. So yeah, it's not a good thing. Even when the person is returned and they're alive and they're well, it's never a good thing when someone is abducted. But think about that. An 84-year-old woman, she had limited mobility, she has a pacemaker. I'm sure she takes medications, and all of the medications were left behind. And people are like, oh, well, if she was taken to Mexico, they can go into a pharmacy and get her drugs. They don't care about that. And I don't think she's in Mexico. I mean, she could be, but I highly doubt it. I think she's somewhere local, and I just want her to be found. I want this to be over. I've enjoyed meeting all of you guys through this and all the new subs and all the people it's brought to my channel. It's wonderful. It gives me hope to keep growing the channel, but I don't want to grow the channel because of, somebody else's tragedy. I know maybe we can help on this channel. Maybe we can help find other missing people. There is a group that Savannah's family has also donated besides the up to $1 million added to the reward. The family of the Guthrie family has also donated a $500,000 for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And there's so many cases that don't get any media attention. Maybe even if Nancy Guthrie is gone, maybe this case could bring all these other missing people's cases to the forefront instead of cases being pushed to the back burner. Maybe her legacy will be uh, helping find other missing people. There are seniors that go missing every day that due to dementia or Alzheimer's, and they walk out the door and they're never seen again. There's children that are taken and they're never found, and the parents don't even know if they're alive, and they have to live with that forever. You know, maybe my channel can help um, recover other missing people. You know, let's have something good and positive come out of a very um, negative situation. But I'm not giving up on Nancy being found yet. I, I just can't give up on her. I feel very vested in this for some reason. Maybe it was because of my own family's background and there being a kidnapping in the family before I was born, like decades, many, many decades. So who knows? Let's pray for all of them. I hope that they have answers very soon, even if it's the worst. I don't want them to just go on for the rest of their lives not knowing where she is. If something big breaks on this case, I'll be happy to, get my gear charged up and get back on the air as soon as possible. If something uh, major breaks. Once again, if anybody here that's watching has any credible information about her location or who's involved in this, please call the tip line at 1-800 call FBI. That is 1-800 call FBI. I hope you guys are all subscribed. If you have not seen this from the beginning, feel free to go back and you can watch this video from the beginning. Go to my channel, April Davis PI, and hit that live tab, and you can see all the videos from February 2nd on. I've gone live every day except for 2 days, so and some videos are like twice a day, so but most of them are just once a day. So there's a lot of videos. There's hours and hours worth of videos that you can go through. Or if you just want to break from this case, just go hit my playlist tab, and you see all the different types of videos that I have. Um, Feel free to check out my long form content. Send me a comment. I try to get to everybody. I try to reach everybody I can. Sometimes I miss a few when there's a big story like this, but I do read the comments, and I appreciate all of you for watching. I love you, my YouTube family, and I will see you soon. Have a good day.